My Life Between Lives story from Newton Train Institute practitioners.
I see a whole change in the thrust of searching for answers about who we are and why we're here. And I think it's wonderful, and I just hope the movement continues to expand.
Let us expand the universal consciousness together with a My Life Between Lives story presented by the Michael Newton Institute.
Welcome to My LBL Story. My name is Ekomananda. I am your host. Today we have special guest, Tonya Swan. Tonya specializes in past life and life between lives regression hypnotherapy. Author of Heaven and Earth, How It All Works. She has explored the spiritual realm over 350 times at the age of 11. Tonya conducts classes on the afterlife and shares her experiences via podcasts and radio shows. She also teaches intuition development and Reiki, leveraging her health professional background since 1975. Her expertise includes hypnotherapy, biofeedback, brainwave meditation, and Reiki. She now offers services in Issaquah, Washington, servicing clients in person and remotely. A big warm welcome to Tonya. Did St. Francis predominantly teaches you a healing method or other stuff as well?
Not so much healing methods. He taught me a lot of things. He taught me that life was a continuum and about past lives. And he let me play with this really fascinating machine, which I've not really heard anybody talk about. It was like a big video screen. And you could sit in front of it and you could put up your life now or another life. And you could play with that. So you could say, go back to when you had made a decision and done something with your life, and go back to that juncture and change it. And then you could see how the life would play out if you had done that. And so you could try on different scenarios.
I've heard of this technique. I can't remember some name. Maybe I'll find out a technique name and share with you later. It's a shamanic technique. What they do is they go into people's story. In what you experience, you could see the screen, use that screen to play your past experiences. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. But change them and see what a different outcome would be.
That's
if
it. So you didn't from that story, that experience. For example, let's say my father left me, yeah. And so there's abandonment issue. The child grew up without a father, without receiving the love from a fatherly figure. So the whole life would be chasing that energy. So we could go to the childhood, that picture, that memory, and change the story, have the father stayed or a loving stepfather replace the role, something like that, and heal that energy. And I've heard something shared by a peer practitioner.
Yes, and this wasn't so much for healing, but for understanding how our decisions make different things happen. And so maybe you think that the decision for your father to leave you was a bad decision, but when you play it out, it doesn't turn out as well. So because of, I had also that issue with my father, and because of the fact that I had made a large mistake and self-imploded in my last lifetime from someone who left and died, my husband, I was set up this lifetime for having my father leave me so that I would not trust men and not get that deeply involved so much that I would give up myself and do that again until I understood what I had done, and then I was allowed to love at that level again so that I didn't make that mistake. And I have now passed that test. That test was going to come again in this life, and I knew it was going to happen, but I wasn't prepared for who it was going to be. It was my son, my youngest son, and he was only 26 years old when he died, and that was last year. And I passed that test very well, and it furthered my ability on the path instead of disrupting it. It made me go deeper into spirituality in order to communicate with him, in order to be able to have a relationship still with him. And it totally helped me with the pain of losing him. So it helped me pass the test. So with that machine, you're able to look at all these different scenarios and see, was that really the best thing that would have happened or not? My father leaving me set me up for better for my life. It was his sacrifice. And when I understood that, in that moment that I got it, I had been praying for 2 years to be healed of my abandonment issue because I knew I was going to have a male child. So I prayed and prayed, and I saw this scenario played out like a dream for me in my mind. And I immediately understood it, and I forgave my father, and I sent him so much love. 3 days later, he came to my door. I hardly have seen him in my life. 5 times I've seen him. And he came to my door. He lived in Oregon, and I lived in Montana. And he came to my door. And we spent the day loving each other. And I forgave him completely. And I basically never saw him again, except one very brief hour. So, some of the things we think are the worst things for us turn out to be the best blessings. And you get to see that on that machine.
How wonderful.
Yes. And in my practice, I do what you say. I do go back, and if we have a real horrendous place that's really affecting the person in this life and they're wanting to heal from it, if I have a feeling to do it, and I don't do it in all things, I will go back and have them, to the juncture where the trauma started, rewrite their story. And I have them do it. You say, we are now there. You take it from here. What happened in your story? And you rewrite it. And then I ask for that story to go over the other one and absorb the other one and transmute it into the new story. And for everything having to do that's come from that to be dissolved in accordance with God's holy will and the highest for the client.
Beautiful. Lots of techniques as well. And I'm sure the audience can benefit greatly from your sharing and your teaching and all of your techniques. Apart from all of this, you learn how LBL experience help you to even transcend that you already knew.
It helped me more to bring it to other people. Because even as much as I try, and I'm always looking for the next thing, I want to get them where I went, in the depth that I went. I am unable to get most people to go to that depth of that place. But I'm able to give them a glimpse. And even a glimpse of heaven is worth its weight in gold. So we can get into some of it, and they can see that there's more to them, especially that there's more to them, like Michael Newton said this. The most important thing we do is we give them the understanding that there's more to them than just their physical body walking around this planet. That they are so much more, that their soul is so incredible. And they get that, and that they have help. They have guides. They're not alone. So many people think they're alone, and they find out they're not. And often they've been aware of their guides, and maybe they don't know it, but in the session they discover it. And so then they have that help, and then they get to see the spirit realm and understand their purpose, what they're doing down here, why they're doing it. And that makes all the difference for their life.
So beautiful.
The biggest blessing, if everybody could have an LBL and really understand their soul and really understand about past lives and how everything we do is never just something we just did and got away with in this life, for instance, with the negative things. And all of the beautiful things we do live on forever through the people we've given them to and through the energy that continues on. All of these things are eternal. And if they could understand that, so much would change. So much. And that's why our work is so important. Because if you understand these things, you can't do the negative things. You just can't do it.
Having to understand this, or the purpose behind each event, it is so enlightening. I have to say that it's so enlightening. It's a game changer.
Yes, It's a game changer, and this planet definitely needs that game changing. And I think this is the mission that my sister and I talked about, being part of a revolution. And I have to remember having been part of the French Revolution, hoping it wasn't a real one, a physical one. But I don't think it is. I think it is a spiritual revolution, and it feels like it matches the energy of the work that we're doing. That this is the revolution. Michael Newton's work is bringing the revolution in spiritual consciousness. And that's what we get to be part of. And that is the most exciting thing that we could possibly do. And I know that when I was up there, knowing people want to come in here, they want to embody. This is the most exciting time that's ever happened on the planet for a very long time. People want to be here and be part of it.
People want to be here and part of it. And we all agreed to be here, to be part of it.
Yeah, yes, we did.
That's it. That's it. And you talk about heaven, the term, and tell us a bit more about what you consider is heaven.
That's a good question. I call it that because that's what a lot of people call it. And they understand when I say that what I mean, kind of. But their understanding of it is a little different than mine in the totality. So for me, it is another vibration. We are actually sitting in it always. But when we change our frequency, we move to that place. And so it's a frequency above ours, if you want to look at it as a level. It's just that changing from one place to the other. And that's another thing we do when we help them expand their consciousness during a session, is we help them move into that frequency and feel what that feels like. And once you feel what it's like to live in that frequency, you don't want to leave it. And to maintain it, you must do good things. You must do positive things. Otherwise, you leave the frequency. And you want to be in the frequency, so you want to move towards it by doing the good things, helping others, having compassion, being loving, all of those things.
In that frequency, does that contain everything that you experienced in the spiritual realm?
From what I experienced when I was up there, it was very like, it's like everything is in a darkness in a sense, but it's not really dark like we think of dark. It's a matter. It's a something. And out of the something, everything else comes. And so my teacher, to create like a room, would just with his mind create out of that whatever he wanted. And then when he was done with that room or that thing, he would put it back into that place and it would become that matter again. And everything that was there, and I saw cities and beautiful places and places where people were coming to earth and places where people were healing and places where I work in healing. I saw all of these amazing places, and the library. I love the library. If you can remember, if you've seen the movie Beauty and the Beast, have you ever seen that movie?
I don't. I have not. I don't think
there's a library.
Yeah, I grew up in a different environment.
Yeah, you can Google the Beauty and the Beast library. And the library in that movie is the closest I've ever seen to that library. It is the most amazing and beautiful place. That's my favorite place. I like to hang out at libraries, which I did in this life also. But it's expansive. It has everything you could possibly want to know about anything. And so there's that beautiful library. As you go around, there's people, there's souls. I call them people, they're souls. And they're in groups. And it's just like here, we have friends, we get together, we do stuff. It just feels so natural. We create things. Like sometimes if we want to do a project, like we want to have a party, we can create whatever we want for the party. And so we may have been embodied together, especially in our groups, and we may want to create something of what we saw when we were here on Earth. And so we can just create that with our mind. And then we can just kind of use that, take forms so that we can walk around and act just like we did when we were here on Earth. And we can share in that experience, but we can use it however we'd like to use it. And we can bring in past memories if we want to. Like we could dress up like something we were in one of the lifetimes with each other. And sometimes it's just kind of a fun and teasing kind of a thing too. So we can do that kind of thing. We can also do more serious things, but I saw a lot of that, where we're examining what we did when we were here. And we talk about that as the life reviews. And we see that in not only the work with Michael Newton's work, but also in the near-death experience. And you see a lot of similarity in those, where people go to where they review the life that they've been living. And they see where things were very good for them and not so good for them, and where they might need to improve, and how they were working together. And it's amazing how it all comes together. Everybody is working with everybody else. And it's just conglomerate, and nothing, not even a second, not even an erg of energy is ever wasted. It's all being worked together for everybody's moving forward and moving more into that dimension.
Oh, wonderful. And it seems to me that this frequency is the canvas. We are all sitting on that canvas. And in that canvas, I'd call it the void space somehow, when you say the dark space.
Yeah. You call it the void space too.
Some call it the non-dual space, some call it the Sahaja, some call it heaven. So all these terms are somewhat, I think, possibly they are interchangeable. This space where there's seemingly there's nothing. There's no concept. Some people call it neither perception nor no perception. So this void space. From there, then everything can manifest. So where your intention goes, because we still have awareness, right? The experience of the is
same as you do now.
Yes. From there, everything can manifest. So all of these possibilities can happen within that realm, and that possibility is anything you want, basically.
Kind of the nothing and the everything. It's because it's the energy that creates everything, but yet it feels like you said, like a void of energy. But it's kind of like the concept of God too. The concept of God, when I was up there, I could feel a presence, and it was aware of everything. It wasn't affecting it. It was observing. But yet I had a feeling that there was something I could get closer to. Like I could get closer to that energy. I didn't know quite how to do that, but I had a feeling that it had almost like a personality, but not exactly. Like a center or a focus or a concentration of that energy. But at the same time, it was part of everything. It's kind of like you said, the void and the everything. It's kind of the same with that concept.
Yes. In your opinion or in your experience, do they separate into different dimensions? Are they just like different departments?
I don't know. I only know what I experienced and what I've experienced with my clients. And I really don't know. I've really had that question myself. How does this dimensional thing work? They say there's a lot of dimensions. I know that as I've read some of the books on near death, some people weren't allowed in certain places, and I was allowed to go anywhere. So I was kind of like, maybe that's what they mean by the dimensions. As your consciousness goes to a certain place, you can go to different places, and that's the dimensions. I really don't know for sure. It's my biggest question. I want to know more.
I've heard different dimension system within the human mind's capacity. I've heard 25 different dimensions, or there's 12. Some say there's 100. And then the divine design typically kind of mentioned from the 5D grid and the 12D grid, which is 5-dimensional world, which is what we are predominantly is doing, creating new Earth. I mean, your Earth is already created. We are already there. I believe we are already there. And then we're helping people who are in this Earth's physical third dimension to lift them to the 5D dimension. This is predominantly what we're doing. From 5D dimension, they expand to the 12D dimension. So yes, a lot to talk about, and a lot of things that we don't know. We don't know. So perhaps the audience can fill us with questions and information if you are watching this, and comment on YouTube channel so that we get to expand as well all together, sharing our experiences.
Can I say one more thing about that?
Yes,
yes. Okay. There's another thing about that is that when you're in a certain dimension, you only have a certain experience and understanding and awareness. But when you move to another one, there's another one. So when I was in that state, I had all this incredible knowledge. And I would come back to my body. And as I went back into the body, it would disappear out of my mind. My mind couldn't handle holding that. And I would come back into my body, and every day when I came back, I would be holding on to something. I am going to take this with me. I'm going to remember it. I'm going to remember it. And I would get back in my body, and sometimes I could remember it, and sometimes I couldn't.
I know. It's like I'm practicing my yoga. Just like what you said, the initial teaching from St. Francis, holding the space between waking and falling asleep. The deep theta state, or we call trance, we call the esoteric world. Basically, is the practice of a lucid dream is to be aware that we are dreaming. So the conscious goes there. And mostly we don't, right? We know we're dreaming, but we don't know we're dreaming. I've been practicing that, trying to remember my dreams. I'm getting a bit of a clue now after 6 months now practicing that.
I love that concept. Okay, because I used to be able to control my dreams. I was awake and myself in my dreams, and I could make things happen the way I wanted them to. But I don't do that anymore. But that's interesting. I wonder if you can go from that realm into that spirit realm. I've never tried that. My teacher told me when he bring me back to my body, he said, never do this by yourself. Always have your guide. Always have me with you. And so I never tried it another way, but that's fascinating.
Yes, you have St. Francis with you, and he's always with you, and you perhaps can do that. And because I typically do it on my own by myself, and my partner, he has gone to verify, if I may say, in meditation. So he sort of just gave me the instructions. So I've been practicing watching myself to falling asleep. That's his word, and often I doze off. But what I've been doing is just write my dream journal, and I now know that every night I dream. I work very hard in my dreaming state. There's so much things that we are trying to learn or trying to clean it off, trying to work it through.
Yes. Have you started flying yet? Can you fly in your dreams on purpose?
No, what I'm got a sense, I've had to say, after 6 months, I had to say, there's a sense that I am aware that I also have this bodily life. I also have this waking state, because often in the dream that I'm aware that I'm a healer, like I was doing something else, I would have a different role, but there's a part of me know that actually I have this life. So that sort of awareness has been slowly emerging, and I think I need to.
Yes, that's the first.
That's it. I'm sort of aware that I have this waking state. So it's slowly emerging. I think I need to grounding myself and stabilize in there, then slowly expand from there. Not flying yet. One day. One day.
Oh, you will. And that's so much fun. And I'll give you a hint. Don't try to do it. Just be it. If you try, it holds you to the ground.
Okay. Just be it. Okay.
Yeah, just keep flying.
To the audience, thanks for watching and stay tuned for our next episode.